With patch 12.7 and Escape from Tarkov, we got a skill rework, and some of the leveling for some of the skills have changed. So I decided to revisit some of them and go deep dive on some of the points needed to max out a skill and see if any of that has changed. Today, we are diving into stamina and endurance and strength. I am sorry, I said stamina. Also, my spreadsheet says stamina means endurance. I'm sorry. But yeah, and today we're focusing on strength and endurance. And with the recent changes, basically all you have to do is you spawn into a raid and you sprint, and for whatever reason, that's all you need to do to level endurance. You don't need to be moving for 10 minutes now. There's no real cooldown. Basically, every time you load into a raid, you get the max endurance you can for that raid. I've noticed that if you start sprinting, as soon as you load in, after about 10 to 15 seconds, you hit diminishing returns. And then after about 2 minutes, you got your 6 points for the raid. So there's really no need for you to spend 10 minutes in a raid if you're just speed running endurance. But yeah, the same can be said for strength. If you load into a raid and you're overweight, and I believe overweight still is 48 kilograms. I was 52. I believe the magic number is 48. Just get yellow numbers. And you do the same thing. You sprint for about 12 to 15 seconds, and after about 2 minutes of that, you're at max strength for the raid. Or if you get overweight at any point during the raid, you will get the most amount of points you can until diminishing returns beats you into a pulp and you don't get anything more for that raid. So generally that's around 6 points. I use the magic numbers 3 and 6. So 3 points is usually about when diminishing returns really starts kicking in, and 6 is usually a hard stop. So keep those in mind. So into the absolute number-driven, huge crunch deep dive of endurance and strength. But before we get that, I'm going to address a few things. If you look at my handy-dandy spreadsheet, that sounds assuming wrong. But yeah, we are going to go over a few points on this. So first of all, points needed to get to elite skills. For level 1, you need 10, 2, you need 20, 3, you need 30, and it goes up incrementally until you hit level 10, where you need 100 points, and then levels 11 through elite, aka 51, you need a total of 100 points. So that's where all these numbers come in. You tally this up, and you need a grand total of 4,550 points to hit elite skills in a perk or whatever. Elite points, you max it out, you get what I'm saying. So now we take that here, and assuming you get 3 points a raid, 4,550 divided by 3 means it'll take you, I rounded, 1,515 raids to get elite skill, assuming you get 3 points in that skill every single time you load into a raid. Okay, pretty self-explanatory. Now if you double that to 6 points a raid, where this is your hard cap, and you do all the math you can see it here, I rounded up to 760 raids. Okay, so we're looking at probably between 760 and 1,515 raids to max out, get elite skill on any skill. Well, we're talking about strength and endurance. Now I'm not going to talk about a lot of other like things that could change this, or like you're spending time on the flea market and the time of yada yada yada, getting gear, you know what I mean, meds, blah blah blah, healing. That's not included because that changes for everyone. Now, to keep in mind matching though, I did add a factor of that. So assuming it takes you 4 minutes to find a match, And if it takes you longer, I just did an average because it takes me on 4. You just take this number, the 1550 or the 1760, and you times it by your average time to find a match. But I did 4 minutes. I found that it takes me 6,060 minutes or 101 hours of just pure matching time to get into these raids. And then it would, if you're going on the lower end, it takes me 3,040 minutes or 50.5 hours of just matching time. So keep that in mind if you're gonna go into that. But I think I beat that into a bush. Let's get on to the actual hard data now. Okay, so this is my stamina, aka endurance and strength graph, and given all the info and some things, I'm gonna walk through all these numbers. You'll find out that assuming you spend the least amount of time in raid, as I said previously, if you're just overweight and you're trying to level strength, or you're at just, you died, you don't even heal, and you instantly load back into raid and just do it as quickly as possible. Assuming that you can get in and out of raid in 2 minutes, which if you run on a reserve and you run straight to the extract, or you just run straight into enemies to die, it's a very effective way to level endurance if you're not worrying about gear whatsoever. Okay, I'm sorry, I might have done that. Don't shame me. But yeah, say you're just doing that for leveling endurance. Say at about spending 2 minutes of in-raid time and menu time, it would take you approximately 50.5 hours in raid time, getting 3 points a raid, or 25 hours in raid if you're getting 6 points a raid. So I just multiplied those, my raid numbers, as I talked about previously, by 2 minutes to get these numbers, and adding it with the matching time we're looking at, it's going to take you anywhere between roughly 76 total hours and 152 hours roughly to max out your endurance skill. So keep that in mind. That's also ideal conditions. Literally, you're sitting at your computer and all you do is run into raid with a hatchet, sprint for 3 minutes or 2 minutes, die, extract, whatever, load back into raid. If you're hurt, it doesn't matter, you just load back in because all you're trying to do is level endurance. Now I did that. I'm sorry. Please don't hate me. I spent 12 hours literally just doing exactly what I said, loading into raid, hatchet, sprinting, yada yada yada. And in practice, I went from level 22 endurance to level 29 endurance in roughly 12 hours. I don't know exactly how long. I know it wasn't exactly 12 hours, but it was close enough. Which brings me out to 7 levels divided by hours gets me about 1.7, and I times that by 51 because there's 51 levels to find out that in practice, in theory, it would take me approximately 87.5-ish hours to max out my elite skill. And before you're like, but that's not the math because it's 4,500. Okay, I times the number by 45 and it says about 76 hours in practice. So that means I'm getting about 6 points raid, and it would come into line with this number of taking me approximately 76 total hours to max out my stamina if I decided to do this for another how many ever times. Now, for the sole purpose of leveling stamina, that's not quite a bad idea. Or endurance, that's not a bad idea. Because like it is probably the most useful skill in the game. But as I say here, I did feel like I was playing Death Stranding and I was in a walking simulator. So, yeah, maybe not. The same exact thing can be said for strength. All of these numbers can apply to strength, except you have to be overweight when you're starting the raid, which I can't do the math on how fast it's going to take you to get into raid while being overweight, but I know. If you have a Kappa and you put a tank battery in your Kappa case, that's a good start because that's 40 kilograms. You only need 8, and then you can really speed level strength then. And all of these apply there, but that's not very consistent. Not everyone can do that. So, try to get overweight and spend 2 minutes of raid there to help strength, or we could throw nades. Now, nades isn't exactly the best option either, but I'm going to cover it anyway. So, nades. If you throw 15 nades in a raid, you get about 3 points. And if you throw 36 nades in a raid, you get 5.9, basically 6. I'm going to say 6 for the purpose of this. And this is where your hard cap is. So after 36 nades, which is, if you're going to bring those in, or your labs main is about the only way you can find 36 nades in a raid, but whatever. Assuming nades cost 10k, I know you can get them cheaper, I know you can get them more expensive, I'm using 10k. And I take 15 times the number of raids, my 1550 number explained, and the rubles, 10k, it'll cost you about 227 million rubles in grenades to max out your strength. Now, same doing with the 36, yada yada yada, or 274 million, roughly, to max out your strength. Not including time in raid, or how long it takes you to throw 36 nades, and if you're throwing 36 nades, that the attention you're probably going to draw, and that everyone will probably rush you, and you might die with some of your nades. But assuming in an ideal world, perfect world, and you can always get 36 nades up, and no one ever kills you, and you never ever die, and it takes 3 seconds, you could max out strength pretty fast. However, at an animation of like, I don't know, 2 seconds a nade, we're looking at around 2 minutes just to throw all of the nades, yet alone get them all from your inventory and buy them all because your stash isn't big enough, but yada yada yada. I'm trying to say it's going to cost a lot. But yeah, that is the extreme extent of what it takes to level strength and endurance in the game. Granted, they are probably the 2 best skills to level in the game, so yeah, maybe you should think about it. My suggestion is every time you have a nade, throw it for now. Or if you're really hardcore, put a tank battery in your butt and just run raids like that for strength. Endurance, you could level it, but after about 25, maybe just play the game instead of running reserve to the manhole for 12 hours straight like I did. But yeah, now if there's other skills, I know you can see the bottom, it's going to have, oh, he's working on recoil on mag drills. I'm going to try to deep dive into every single skill, but for now, I have a video that covers basically the best way to level everything. It'll be in the description, the tag at the end, whatever. Find it and use it to level other skills until I get to the deep dive. Yeah, that's about all I have. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe because it helps me out a whole deal, and I really appreciate it. I love all the support, and you're the best. I'll even tell you you're the best. If you didn't like the video, you can dislike the video, or leave a comment down below and tell me what I could do to be better so you'll like my video. Please, I'm desperate. No, I'm just joking. But most importantly, have a great day.